James Gunn has already set up the perfect excuse to make a DCU Superman sequel totally different to the original movie. Superman's sequel is yet to be confirmed by James Gunn, but that has not stopped the filmmaker from inadvertently setting up a great way to differentiate it from the first film. James Gunn's Superman movie is set to kickstart the DCU in July 2025. Meaning the DC Studios chief is focused solely on that for a while yet. That said, Gunn's recent DC Universe reveals saw him confirm that he has already begun work on his next script in the franchise. As far as Gunn was willing to confirm, this script is not a Superman sequel. However, that does not mean Superman 2 is not planned as part of the ever-growing slate of upcoming DCU movies. Simply that it may be further away than first thought. As the movies of the DCU's Chapter 1 begin to release, Gunn will undoubtedly be toying with ideas for a Superman sequel that will continue the story of the first, but add a new, unique flavor to the franchise. Interestingly, the filmmaker may already have provided a way to add this element to a Superman sequel, making it different enough from the original film to stand on its own. James Gunn has already explained how a DC Universe Superman sequel could likely be different to the upcoming 2025 Superman movie. In December 2024, James Gunn appeared on the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast to promote Creature Commandos and the rest of the DCU's upcoming slate. During this interview, Gunn was asked about certain pet peeves for superhero movies, citing a lack of creative consistency from a story standpoint as one of them. Regardless, Gunn still outlined his desire to have distinct and different visual styles be part of his DC universe, just as they are part of DC Comics from artist to artist. Gunn insisted that he has his own version of Metropolis, but that he would be completely fine with another filmmaker in the future having their own, slightly different visual reference for Superman's iconic city. Herein lies how a sequel to the DCU Superman could differentiate itself from the original. While the broader strokes of the city would need to remain consistent, having someone else come in and alter the visual style of Metropolis somewhat could be very interesting, allowing the sequel to Superman to have its own unique look that still links to the first film. Why It's Good James Gunn is open to a very different Superman sequel. With this update from Gunn in mind, it cannot be seen as anything other than a great thing for the filmmaker to be open about this. In many franchises, as Gunn points out himself, there can be strict rules and regulations that filmmakers must follow to fit canon. Although the DCU will certainly have this, it is great that Gunn is willing to stretch that somewhat to allow for aspects like different visual styles in the core movies, complete standalones like Swamp Thing or Clayface that bend genres, or completely separate movies in the Elseworld sect of the franchise. The DC Universe would be able to tell its overarching story with the same characters set in the same world, while allowing each individual movie or TV show to be completely different from the last. The one prevailing benefit that this will allow the DCU as a whole to have is a lack of staleness. Long-running franchises that adhere to such strict rules could become stale very quickly, yet Gunn's openness to a completely different visual style for Superman 2, for example, would prevent this. This way, the DC Universe would be able to tell its overarching story with the same characters set in the same world, while allowing each individual movie or TV show to be completely different from the last, keeping the franchise fresh in a way that could begin with Superman 2's unique take on Metropolis.